So if you talk about transparency, doesn't it make more sense to say, hey, we need these services that your company provides, and that means that you need to remain in a consultant role, not in a board member role, because board members are deciding on contracts. I'm trying to understand, how did you reconcile that? Because that leaves you open for criticism of self-dealing.
It does, which is why our books are tight. Everything that we're doing is regulated by attorneys. We've got people in place to ensure that there is no self-dealing by virtue of having conflict of interest policies. But I want to lean back into what Shalomyah said. It's that this is not a long-term solution. And I said we've got to
No. Okay. This is what I'm trying to understand. And Shalomyah, what you just said. If y'all met and said, you know what, we're putting this thing together. We need to keep this in place for the next 18 months. I will serve as a consultant for 18 months, but not a board member. The problem is, from an outsider looking in, you're deriving financial benefit while being a board member because it's still your company. And what I'm saying is, how does that not run afoul of your own conflict of interest?
Because I don't vote on my. So first off, I want to make sure that I say that I understand the perception. I understand what it looks like, and we will continue to do our best to make sure folks know that there is not anything nefarious or improper happening, despite what that perception might look like. And part of what's important this is a very common concept amongst nonprofits that black, brown, white. You will see it in every instance where there are board members that are sitting on a board, where there is a company that they might be working for, partner of, own part of, what have you, and the organization does work with that firm, and it's a conflict of interest policy that is created to ensure that there are no rules that are violated, and to ensure that that board member is not part of any of the decision making related to the work of the organization with that firm. And so it's a very common concept. I think what you often see is black organizations get scrutinized more heavily than white organizations for something that is very common, and that's what's I'm not. First of all, I'm not talking about white people, and I'm talking about white organizations. I'm black. The National Association of Black Journalists, our budget, it's not like we got even a $5 million budget, and the reality is, as a board member, I could not have a company that was doing business with the organization as a board member. I couldn't. I mean, that would just, that's so again, that's a part of, again, what critics have said in terms of how it's set up. Me personally, I just think, to be perfectly honest, I think it's a lot cleaner in terms of, a lot cleaner for the three of you to say, Shalomyah, I move to a consultant role. My company will perform these services. I will be a contractor for the foundation. And then once the decision is made by the board to say, hey, we can now hire staff, then they can move to a board position. But that's just sort of how I see that. Last question I do have here is, the properties that were purchased, the $6 million in property, do you still own those properties? Have you sold those properties? And if you still have them, how are they being used? Well, I want to make one correction. It's property, despite what we see of all the claims that we've got out there about there being dozens. The organization has one property that was purchased, and it was purchased legitimately for work related to the creators. The creator's house is what it is known as. We call it campus, but it was created to ensure that Black creatives have a space to do their work, in addition to serving as a compound for meetings and organizational work that we that we have on our plate.
Gotcha. So it's in Studio City, has 6 bedrooms, bathrooms, swimming pool, soundstage, office space, and so what you're saying, it's being used, it's functional.
It's functional.
Who gets who gets to use it?
We brought together, and Shalomyah, I'm sure was going here, families, over 100 families, impacted families who have been impacted by police violence, to recently have a healing moment and healing space through one of our grantee partners. And it was a beautiful experience of coming together of impacted families at the home itself.
Okay, so who gets to use it? That's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, it's a compound. Is it in use 365 days a week? What type of creators? How do you manage that?
We do not have the programmatic infrastructure completely built out right now on a regular basis publicly for the Creators House. As I'd mentioned,
again, I'm curious. What kind of creators? When we say creators, what does that mean?
Yeah. We had a group of our HBCU ambassadors recently. We're really proud of our Student Solidarity Fund, where we granted money directly to HBCU students. We brought together our student ambassadors, where they came and they stormed and they gave us ideas. We filmed all of it. There is, like you said, a soundstage and studio in the back. We do have strategic partnerships that we're building out so that folks can use the space. And one of the examples is what we did with our HBCU partners.
So perfect example, we often, my network, we often come to LA, and again, I'm just talking about creators. This is what we do 7 days a week. Is that a place that we could come, stay for a week, set up, shoot stuff there, and what's that process? That's what I'm trying to, like, how does that work?
Yes, I can say 100% yes, Roland. If you wanted to, as long as the work is to do, to seek Black liberation, and that.
Well, shit, that's what the Black Star Network is. I mean, that ain't no if. That's what we do.
That's what I'm saying. If that's the work.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.